Hey everybody, this is Rider, and welcome back to Let's Play Earthbound. I've made the trip all the way back across Grapefruit Falls and the underground passage, and let's head back to Threed. Hey! It's light out! Well, once you beat Master Belch and Trillionage Sprout, light will return to the city of Threed, and all the enemies will be gone. This also means that the ghosts in the tunnels are gone, which means that the busing system now works. So we can now head back to Tucson and buy more teddy bears, but they won't be particularly useful now, or we can head on to Fourside. But there's a little something that I want to take care of first that will reap dividends later. You'll see. Ah, nothing. It is a trash can. It is where people put their garbage. There's actually something in the Threed Hospital in one of these rooms. I forget which one it is. I don't think it's that one. It's the other one. This is the only time. Inside these drawers, there's an insignificant item. There's nothing in the game that even indicates that that's there. No one in the game tells you, and no one in the game really tells you what you're supposed to do with the insignificant item. Well, what you're supposed to do with it is go back to Tucson. So I am gonna go ahead and take the bus there. The bus fare is $2 per person in your party. It's a pretty expensive bus fare. What's the price of gas in Eagleland anyway? It's gotta be expensive if they're charging $2 a person in fares. And considering what, adjusting for inflation, what it was in the 90s, because this game is supposed to take place in the last decade of the 20th century. Ah, great Tucson. We haven't seen this place in a while. Alright, we're back in Tucson. We actually need to take the insignificant item to a man in the Tucson hospital. Ah, here we are. The man in question is also on the second floor of the hospital. And this is the guy. He doesn't give you any indication, but if you go into your items and give him the insignificant item, he'll give you a magic truffle. You will want to save this for much later in the game. It is, you can only find these in the deep darkness, and that's over 3/4 of the way through the game. And there's only a limited number of them. I believe there's only 6 of them in the entire game. If you use one, it will restore 80 PP. Yes, you heard me correctly. 80 PP. And none of my characters really have the PP capacity to be using such an item, and, well, frankly, I think it's just too early in the game to be using them, since you're going to be relying on PSI much more later in the game. Well, with that little errand taken care of, let's go to the big city Fourside. It's going to be a long trip, so I'm going to explain what's going to be going on here. There's actually a desert that we have to pass through before we get to Fourside. What I do want to do sometime in between this video and the next is deposit that magic truffle in this cargo express so that, you know, it doesn't get stolen or something. Although I don't think there's any enemies for a long time that can steal your items. I just can't remember for sure. But it's also good practice to put it in this cargo express so I'm not tempted to use it. No, let's go. There's a little bit more exploring you can do here, but there's not anything of note. I think there's like an insecticide spray in that garbage can. But we're not going to encounter any more insectoid enemies for a long time. There will be a faster way to get around later than the bus, but that's not until significantly later. Ah, the desert. Wait, what? Traffic jam? Really? And why are there people in the oncoming lanes? Yep. Yep, can't get through. And apparently there's a herd of buffalo blocking the road. So I guess we have to get out and explore the desert. Ah, the mole playing rough. They show up right here, and there's really no point to fighting them. This arms dealer will sell you a weapon upgrade for Jeff, which I can't use, and bombs and bottle rockets and rust promoters. If you go along the outer edge of the map, you'll find a lot of items. Oh, that's a UFO. I don't want to fight that. The enemies around here are annoying. Like this one. This is actually the least threatening enemy in the desert, the Skelpion. They have very low defense and about 130 HP. They're pretty non-threatening. I wouldn't even recommend using any PSI on them. They can use PSI Thunder, and they can poison you, but there's really no reason to use PSI in this fight. And holy jeez, lag. Thankfully, I have the menus in this game fairly memorized. Oh, there's a black sesame seed here. And there's a white sesame seed somewhere in the desert. And talking to the black sesame seed will trigger a photo op. Unfortunately, talking to the white sesame seed will not trigger a photo op. If I missed any, besides the one in Onett, and you know which one I'm talking about. Oh, I got sunstroke. If you stand in the sand too long, you'll get sunstroke. Healing Alpha or a wet towel will cure that. Oh, a couple of life noodles. Awesome. There's actually a lot of new enemies here. And somewhere around here there's a sign. Right here. Alright. Oh, there's something shining. And we get the contact lens. This is part of a side quest in Fourside. The reward isn't really worth it, but I just want to show it off. And here's a new enemy, the Desert Wolf. They have 247 hit points, they're vulnerable to all kinds of offensive PSI, but they hit really hard and they can poison you. So I would recommend just icing them off. They do around 100 damage. That's a huge level. PSI Caramel will take it. Oh, Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo. Thankfully you can outrun these guys, because they're pretty dangerous. This is the Bad Buffalo. They have 341 HP, and they hit extremely hard, dealing close to 150 damage with their charging attacks. However, they are vulnerable to paralysis. If you can get that off, then they're harmless. Ow! So much for that. And then pretty much you can just go all out from here. Once the Bad Buffalo is paralyzed, it actually can't do anything to you. They do have a lot of HP. But aside from dealing a lot of damage, they're pretty vanilla. Okay, and this, I believe, is the last... Oh, I think there's one more present. Sudden Guts Pill, fairly useless. Oh, Buffalo, I don't want to fight you. At least if they start chasing you, you can outrun them. I just wanted to demonstrate the enemy. Oh, that is the last present. Also, once you step on the road here, that traffic jam mysteriously clears. However, there's something we need to do here first. Ah, UFO. Too many enemies. You do need to talk to the miner here. Because you need to give him some food. Any food will work. I have an extra hamburger floating around, and they're pretty useless at this point because they only restore 58 points, so I'm going to give it to him. There's a save point and a free hotel in here. I'm going to be using this quite a bit while we're in the desert area. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to take a trip to the hospital in between now and the next update. And also, I'm going to have to unload my excess equipment, excess items. You can either go back to the bus stop, and you can have the bus take you through Fourside, or you can walk across this bridge. I prefer walking across the bridge the first time, because there's actually a photo op on the bridge. And a lot of people miss this. It's somewhere near the end. I don't think there's any photo ops in Fourside. Oh wait, no, there are, well, at least not right now. There's one that we can get, but it's inconvenient for us to do now, so I'm just going to get it later when I have a reason to go into the building that it's in. And we have finally reached the big city of Fourside. This is supposed to be basically the New York... Oh, lady. And here's another new enemy, the extra cranky lady. We could run into normal cranky ladies back in Tucson, but I just never got to demonstrate one. She has a couple of powerful attacks, she can decrease your guts, and she can attack twice per round. It's really nasty. There's that 2 attacks in 1 round. There's actually only 4 kinds of enemies in Fourside. Most of them are inconsequential, but there is one enemy that I am worried about. Well, our objective now is the Topala Theater. Let's check in on the Runaway 5. At least we can buy tickets to get in this time, rather than having to get a backstage pass. You don't actually have to watch their show, and frankly, I don't have time to show it off. All you have to do is talk to the theater manager. You do have to do this. Wow, now they're owed $1 million. I have 10,000 in the bank, but there's no way I can make $1 million. As a matter of fact, you can only hold $99,999. But how are we going to get the Runaway Five out of this mess? And what about the miners in the Dusty Dune Desert? Find out next time on Let's Play Earthbound.